thanks for joining us. So we're talking about thinking local and acting global. My name is Brandon Keenan. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Antstream Arcade, which is a global company, but it's interesting. We have games from all over the world, but we're moving into some sort of really hyper-casual esports, very different than what these three gentlemen are involved in. And I've learned a lot at this conference about the depths of esports and the intricacies of it all. So the panel, we've got Pavel. I don't even say last names. I did have it earlier. Kowalczyk.
Yeah,
And so Pavel, you're based in Poland. You work from we have three different kind of interesting backgrounds. So he works from media, sports, and into esports and putting some structure. So tell us a little bit about kind of your local market and a little bit about what you do. We'll work our way around.
So thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I'm from Poland. I'm responsible for the Polish Esports League. And as you said, I've got a deep background in the sport and media industry because I was working for over 10 years for Axel Springer in Poland. And this last year, I decided to rebuild the Polish Esports League, to create new products, to create new approach for the league. Connected with the mainstream audience, connected with, we are using as much knowledge from the traditional sport as possible. We got investors who are really, it's really long story in the traditional sport and media industry. This is our approach, and we are trying to use it in the correct way. And I think that's important. Then we can talk a little bit more about it.
Sounds good. And then we've got Jocelyn Roux. My French accent is comes from Geneva, and you come from a sort of a player perspective with a league and a team. So and recruiting local players, but playing globally. So tell us a little bit about what you do, your team, how you think a little bit about local and global.
Yeah, so I'm representing Team BDS today. I'm head of legal at the organization. I was invited there for 2 years as a lawyer in my law firm, and joined them as head of legal and also at the management. We are a 2-year organization, so we're still young, but we already achieved some great things. And we know that the market is very crowded. There's a lot of competition, and for sure, something local will be important, and specifically on skating. So this is something we are going to look at in the next few years.
You know, esports is getting serious when the lawyers start leaving the law firm and joining the teams, right?
There are a lot of them.
A lot of lawyers, oh boy. And then Leo, you don't get a last name, you're just Leo, and I think people probably know you here because you've been on a lot of panels.
You call me the grandfather of esports.
The grandfather of
No.
esports. He's actually 82, but he's
Yes.
not showing his age. So you're based in Brazil, and more from an event perspective, right? And you're building the largest arena, is that right?
Yeah, one of the
One of
things
them?
that we are now investing in is really building this landmark for esports in Brazil, which is the largest esports arena in the world. It's going to be based in São Paulo. And but the background of my company, well, BBL, it's kind of a one-stop shop. So it's a really a company that does all the strategy and all these businesses regarding brands, gaming, publishers. So really, we work with all the solutions that we have in the market to really bring the best content and the best results for brands in our market. So of course we work internationally also. We do Latin America stuff, and we provide services for companies all over the world.
So my background's mostly in media and advertising and publishing as well, like you, Pavel. And we do talk a lot about local and global. There's very few advertisers that are global advertisers, right? We talk about like Cokes and Pepsis and Red Bulls, but they all act local, right? They buy locally. So sometimes it's a challenge, right? So if you think, for you, I mean, you're talking to advertisers, you want to talk to someone about budgets, and there's a possibility that they could reach a global audience, but the local buy comes from that. Is that a challenge from advertisers?
I think that this is kind of changing because they are seeing that they don't have to create a specific strategy for gaming or for esports. So we can really adapt their main strategy that they have globally. So they have one tagline already that they can use anywhere in the world, and we adapt that and integrate the gaming content and the esports content within this strategy. So this is becoming more and more common. And when companies like such Coca-Cola or Kellogg's or you name it.
Mastercard, yeah, Mastercard was
Yes,
yesterday.
yes.
And she talked about a corporate decision was made globally, and then they pass it down to the region.
Exactly.
And they work with the players.
They have their local budget, but they know already, they bring along some global partners. For instance, like Mastercard, I think they have like a global partnership with Riot Games. And so they talk to the local offices and see how are they going to be installing these or streamlining these campaigns locally also.
Right. Yeah, so getting advertiser money is tricky. And then from a media perspective, I mean, local, obviously you have to be local language support, talking in a certain way, but you also, it's going to be picked up globally as well, and it needs to be appealing to help grow those markets and help grow those players, right?
Yeah, well, I think that I agree absolutely with what Leo said, that, you know, there is a lot of decision making globally, and in the region we are just adapting this kind of strategy and such things, and but every region, every country in some ways different, and in the esport we've got the same situation, like in our league our players need to, you know, from the media perspective also the communication is a little bit different for the Polish market, for the Polish fans, and different for the international level, like, you know, we need to adapt with that. From my perspective, from my point of view, I think that you know, esport is it's also a great chance from the media and communicate perspective, that, you know, the possibility to be on the international level, you know, the road, the bridge is really fast. Like, you know, in this, for example, in the traditional sport, in football especially, there is, if you want to compete in the international level, and for example you are starting, I think that, you know, 3 or 5 years, and there is no possibility to do this. From the esport
Right.
perspective, there is, you know, during 1 month you can compete with teams or in players in absolutely different countries, but region and the regional league, like for example in Poland, Polish Sport League, is the most important, I think, because there is a connection in and, you know, some link with your real fans. Like it's easy because you all have supporters from the town, from the city, from the country, and this is really important, that they need to be on the first place. Like when you are really strong in the region, when you are the champ of the country, then you can go in the international level.
Right. I mean, there's no other sport in the world. I mean, think about, I mean, my experience of National Football League or even the Premier League, it's really hard. I mean, they want global audiences, but to find local players, I mean, to go global, and to go through any of those real, you know, like physical sports like that. I'm not saying esports not physical, but it takes a long time. And so, Jocelyn, we're talking, I mean, you have local players, Europe, Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, France. Yeah. And so finding local players, finding talent is difficult and then to bubble them up. And like Pavel says, within a month they could be playing on a global stage if they're really good. Yeah. So what are you doing from a BDS standpoint? How are you finding players and training and growing them up from a local perspective?
Yeah, so it's like I said before, so the scouting will be, I think, for the next few years, very important for every organization. Find new players from the local area. You see that now there is a lot of buyouts that are really expensive. So organization will have to find ways to find new good players. I think we did this specifically on Rocket League. Our Rocket League team is now top 2 Europe, but 1 year ago, no one knew the whole team. So we found these great players by doing a great work at scouting, and then we help them develop and be a good team. I think this is also a commitment that teams has to make, to find good players and then help them develop, be patient. This is also something that is very difficult in traditional sports to be patient, but specifically in esports, I think that everything is going so fast that it's very difficult to be patient. But we love at BDS to give opportunities to our players to let them develop, and for now it's working well. But the next thing is, yeah, the player will be good for 1, 2, 3 years, but what then? So we already have to think what we're going to do in 2 years. So the scouting is very important because we don't want to have big buyouts to pay and be in difficulties in 2 years.
Has your team only been around for 2 years?
Yeah. So we are.
You say be patient, but in 2 years you just missed the final last year, and so you're already tracking for a European final as your goal. And
Yeah,
in 2 years, so that's the opposite of patient, but that's great. I mean, that's pretty quick, huh?
No, the thing is, so we got good results, but our mindset is, we're gonna let them develop, and
Right.
from the start we are very supportive. We're trying to help them in every way possible, and for now it's working. It's a bit so it's of course because of the players, and so we are not just stuck with the results. We are the way, the commitment of the players, how they train, how they behave. It's something that is very important to us, and I think it's working now. But like I said, we're gonna have to renew our rosters, and then we have to think not just global but also local, and trying to develop esports in Geneva and the Geneva area, also in Switzerland, maybe helping the Swiss Federation, helping. This is something that can work in the next few years.
Right. So I saw Ivan. I don't know if he's here, but his slide talks about Brazil as being incredibly strong in esports. So you run an event. Say you have a big event. The players are from all over the world. They play physically in there, right? But the audience, are people coming from all over the world to visit as well, or is it mostly a local audience? Is it good for economies? Is it physically people coming? Obviously, it's online and global, so everyone can watch it. But are you getting a big physical draw from around the world as well for events?
I think when you talk about, of course, the major events, so when you talk about the international, when you talk about the big ESL events all over the world, yes, you have people flocking from all over the world, and but the majority of the people will be local people, so very passionate people. So that's why some specific countries are chosen to host these events, because they know that the crowd is passionate. It's going to be a great show, and but of course support from the city is really important. It's becoming more and more important, because an event like the Katowice event, it really changes the way that the city behaves, and the economy, about the hospitality, hotels, and things like this. So esports is getting, yes, to that stage already.
And the governments are starting to pay attention a bit.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I know that for some of the big franchises, there's now like an official bid to become the host of these events already, like you have for the Olympics, for instance. So some publishers, I've heard already that, yes, they receive pitches from cities to really bring the events to their countries.
So is esports, is it still fun though? I mean, when lawyers and advertisers and all, no offense, I'm an advertiser as well.
What?
But when all these people get involved, right, and local's fun, right? When I used to play football locally with my friends, it was a lot of fun. Then you start going up levels, and it gets less fun. When things become big business, right, do the players still have a blast when it's big business, or does it become a little bit more complicated when you start playing at a global scale? Are they still is the fun of the game being removed from a business perspective?
No, I don't. So I was a former football player, and so I was enjoying playing as well at the professional level. So I think it's the same for the players, and to be committed to train every day, a lot of hours, analyzes the game, the tactic, everything. You have to love the game. You have to love the things you do to perform at the highest level. So I don't think that for now players I get bored of the game. Of course, you have to take care of the players, just say not to train too hard as well, trying to do other stuff to just clear the mind. And so this is a balance that we have to find with the coaches and the support team around the players.
Right. So I guess Ronaldo and Messi are still enjoying their time playing too. Yeah.
Brandon, you can easily say that gaming today has become like one of the major drivers on social class distribution or social class changes. We have stories like we have in Brazil with a boy that was from the communities, really poor community in Brazil, and in the span of I don't know, less than a year, he went from being a known person to become like the namer of gaming in Brazil because of one game, signing $1 million contracts and being signed by the major teams, and now ditching those teams in less than 2 months and founding his own team. And the guy is a phenomenon. So it's a no brew from Free Fire, and now he's going to be nominated for the Esports Award this year, and not even a year ago.
Yeah. So the opportunities are unlimited in
Yes.
this space. I mean, growing.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges in maybe? I mean, Brazil is obviously, I guess, fairly mature in a sense from esports, even though it's still early stage for everybody.
And it's crazy because we fell under the radar of many people, right? So Brazil, what the hell?
No,
So
it surprised me. And then, like in Poland or maybe some other parts of Europe, are they having some of those challenges still finding players and finding that growth in advertisers? Is it starting to happen as well?
You know, this is not a huge challenge because, to be honest with you, for example, last year and this year, we've got a lot of partners from the traditional sport that we are trying to convince them, and because in our speed, that I'm saying very often that traditional sport and the e-sport have a lot of in common. There is no huge difference. There is a difference of area of competition. Like, you know, you are playing on a football pitch and you are using the computer, but there is a lot of things which are really huge similarity, and there is a lot of synergy. So our partners understand it very well, and there is no such huge barrier for them to go into the e-sport because they are you know, looking for the e-sport like for a traditional sport. So they are using the same stories, they're using the same things. The biggest challenge we've got for the last years was that the professional scene was not so professional. When you are a huge company and you've got some kind of needs that if you want to invest the money, so you need to be a really professional. What does it mean, professional? It means that you've got some kind of long-term strategy, that there is a really professional player on the side, that your production quality is very good and a high quality, and such things. So, you know, the whole eSport was born because of the passion of the gaming. But right now, as they said, the players are not only playing; they are some kind of, you know, stars. Like there was a funny situation during our LAN finals in May this year that we've got a lot of mainstream celebrities which are supporting our league, and we've got some kind of VIP party, and some kind of celebrities were with the children, and the children didn't want to take a photo with the really important athletes and figures, like, you know, well-known player, boxer, or even singer or something like this. They wanted to have a photo with gaming players, with influencers.
Yeah.
That was so important for them. And you know, these athletes were also like, they was not happy because of that thing, but they understand how, you know, this is change. So I think that create the league in the region in the same way like it works in a traditional sport. This is a good way to build the structure, to professionalize the scene, to support the teams, to build. One of our strategic goals is to support the teams from the financial perspective, but not only. We are using the knowledge of our investors, of our history, how it should work, you know, and then the knowledge not only from the sales or business perspective, but also like, you know, we've got some kind of conferences, and we are, for example, Marcin Gortat, he's over 14 years in NBA. This is a knowledge which is really unique, and he's, you know, teaching the players what does it mean to be a professional, what is really important, what is not, how to, you know, proceed with the whole career, how to build the, how to build in the social media and such things. And
So mentorship and advisory.
yeah, the mentorship is really great, and when we will have, you know, a lot of that kind of mentorships, a lot of that kind of people who has really great knowledge, the esports scene, you know, dynamically will grow up.
Yeah. So Jocelyn, when you want to build a great team, you want to find great players. Is it, two questions. One, is it going to become like football where you start going into 10, 11, 12-year-olds and finding talent and trying to sign them early? And how important is, the next question, how important is it you're going to find a local player who might be really good at gaming, but needs to be a national star, so or a global star, possibly. How important is that, the characteristics and personality in your hunt for greatness?
For now, I think that's the performances are the most important for us. So for now, we don't really not care, but it's just, this is not that important that he's a Swiss player or a French player. I think now the performance is important. It's more important than anything. We also, of course, look at his audience, his community as well, for sure. But for now, we are focused on the performance. Now we have to develop the local area. We have to develop esports in Switzerland and in Geneva area to have this possibility, to have this opportunity to find local players that no other organization will find and will try to steal, I would say. But the interesting is about audience is, you know, in traditional sport, when you are I don't know, football player in Switzerland, so your audience is very local. So you just say no one in France and Germany knows you very well. But as an esport player, so you have all this community that came from everywhere, and then so you have this local recognition, but you also have to develop your community, and it's way faster and way easier to reach other countries and become global, and it's maybe more important than in traditional sports, and it is something that players have already taken consideration and work on when they stream, when they reach their community. So this is something that is very important because they already have this in mind, and as businessmen as well as players, they understand that local is good, but they have to become global for sure.
So Leo, you've been in the space 25 years. You've seen the evolution. I imagine years ago it was crickets. If nobody wanted to watch anyone play video games, right? So, and then it slowly evolved into something. How important is the rise of Twitch and YouTube and these things to giving these local players and local events a global scale? Has that really kind of, that type of platform really exponentially grown?
It changed the game completely. So I have a funny story even with Gaules, because I know a lot of people know the streamer Gaules. That is a Brazilian phenomenon because his stream is in Portuguese and he's one of the top streamers in the world, even with that. And he used to run events also in the past before he became a famous streamer. And he came to me while I was working at NVIDIA at the time. And he came to me with a project for an esports league, and but that was a year before Twitch. So he showed me the whole project. He showed me the whole thing, and from the amount of money that he needed for the result that he delivered in regards to audience and to really the reach, it wasn't enough for us. So I had to say no. In the next year, he brought me the same project, but now with this new tool that nobody knew before, but it was like, oh, this is Twitch. And then I signed the contract because now I knew that he's going to be reaching big numbers and a broader audience, and it was a major success. So of course, with the way that Twitch approached gaming and really made it mainstream, changed the game completely, like I said. And so people there are unknown and are now becoming global actors in this stage. And the tool is evolving, and now not only being well known, but they are also becoming very, very wealthy. Yeah. And I was going to say when Paul was relating to the top sports players, they are even becoming friends, right? Because their lifestyle is so alike. And then you see Neymar all the time with the gamers, with Fallen, with Gaules all the time in Brazil. And these are kind of the milestones that really will be changing more and more the way that we consume, the way that we see games, and the way that people, well, Twitch is the new TV for those kids. Right. So they do not turn on the TV, but they turn on their favorite channels, and they watch this every day. So this is cultural now. This is a cultural change.
And language at a global scale doesn't seem to be a stopper. If you're really talented and you've got the personality, people will watch. And it sounds like the aspirational angle of getting the younger generations to look up to these Neymar-type players now go, oh, wait a minute, I can do this way. How do you get, you talk about, we talked before about data and advertisers. How do we get them thinking differently as well? Because they come in with kind of traditional mindsets of how to buy media, how to package deals. You know, it's a little bit different because we talked a little bit about how you're using data to build these kind of packages from a media perspective and get the advertisers involved. I think that's, the formula is getting players, getting advertisers, getting events, and getting the money in there, and that's how it's going to grow, right?
Yeah, you know, but I think that they are understanding how it works. You know, we are educating in the many levels how to use, what to do, how to package that. So I think that, you know, it's changing a lot because also they knew that they need to think differently because there is an opportunity, a chance for them, and when they do not change and do not think about it like we've got what kind of opportunities we've got in an esport, then they lose something. So I think that this is not a huge challenge for us, that they need to adapt. Just they need to adapt.
And then from a player perspective, do sponsors find players and ride those players through and put logos on them, or do they find teams? Do they find events? They probably do all three, but as an advertiser, what do they, is it, what's a way, I mean, would you, similar to like a Nike in the early stage, they find a great player like a LeBron James and say, you're our guy, we're going to sign you forever? Or is it better to sign up with teams?
Oh, I think brands are doing both. I think for now it's for brands the audience is very important. So we also as a team has to show them that we have this kind of reach, this kind of region. So we also have to think global in narration of our audience and how activate it to be interesting for brands, to be attractive for brands. So this is also something that we have to work on to see at the local stage said how we have to activate this community like this to be attractive for brands and find new partnership deals. So the approach with the local and global is very important for brands and so it's very important for teams.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the growth of this, I mean, 90% of it's online, so it's a really interesting opportunity, like you say, for players, for growth, for events. And I guess when you talk about an event, 90% online, it is a highly technical event. And it's not just, I mean, technical is probably the most important piece to get that distributed out, right? How has technology gotten to a point, I mean, is everybody's logging in now? Is it really, I'm not sure of the question, but from an event standpoint, how are you making sure that those events are global, but still holding on to that kind of local flair?
I think with all the tools that we have available right now, You sometimes have companies like mine where we can really deliver a big scale event, but you can be global from your bedroom nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Or a mobile phone sitting on a park bench.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So this is something that really changed the game, like I said, and people are getting well known all over the world. And every day there's a new person that it's now becoming a star or a new team that had a good result. Anyway, so I think, and this is what we saw also here in this event, because at Esports Bar, one of the things that you see the most are people bringing new tools, new platforms, new ways to deliver metrics, results, or to get more in-depth data. So we're talking about data more and more and more, because gaming, it's all about data also. So that's how we see that gaming is really becoming a professional industry, and really getting more and more ready for mainstream brands and mainstream media.
Yeah, it sounds like it's all going very similar to normal sports. I mean, it's going to be local players growing up, advertisers finding local and global audiences. The opportunities are unlimited. So we have a very international panel here. Hopefully you found that interesting. I believe we'll pop over there for some questions, but I think we are officially out of time. So thank you to everybody.
very much.
And
Thank
you
you.
for watching.
Thanks.